Winter is here, and it's cold! Guys, welcome to this video, and I'm gonna show you how I did this amazing winter set. I did this set actually in the beginning of the year, and this was a really good kickstart of the year. So we starting right off the bat by cutting desired pieces of foam. This is really up to you what you want to achieve. Right now, what you can see here is me building a stair piece for this set. So I cut a few smaller pieces of foam, then I sliced them up, and now I'm stacking them on top of each other. And for that I'm using my beloved hot glue, but I'm using a low temperature hot glue gun because the big glue gun is usually melting the foam, so the smaller one is safer. Once I stacked all these plates on top of each other, I cut them in half, and from one piece I have suddenly two. So once we have desired stairs already, it's time to firstly assemble them and then imprinting a brickwork. And in order to do a proper brickwork, I'm gonna show you, I already did a full tutorial for you, so it's here. You can watch it, but basically I'm just using box cutter knife, and I have this ruler, straight piece of MDF, and it's 2 centimeters thick, and I'm using it as a guide for making bricks. On top of this piece I am using a cubic pattern, so like grit, and on the sides I'm using standard uneven brickwork. To making vertical lines I am using scalpel because it's too small for box cutter knife. Once we cut it, it's now time for my most favorite tool, which is good old rock, and we are giving the foam like good old bashing. Just be careful not to smash your fingers, because your nails will otherwise turn black, and it's really nasty. I'm sad to say that this already happened to me more than once. It's not nice walking with a sore black thumb. So give it a proper smash from each side. Yeah, maybe roll it. And then once we are done, we're gonna grab a pencil and we're gonna start engraving. We are deepening our cuts. And what you can see here, I'm actually going both sides, so one side and the other. And this is to ensure that the foam will not stick from one side on the other. And now I'm using the zigzag pattern to make sure not to miss any former cuts. And then, once we have it, I'm using this tool, this DIY tool, which I call the gouger. It's the tool which I'm using for beveling the edges of each brick. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, to distinguish the amateur and pro stonework is in beveling individual pieces of brick, these edges. All 4 edges needs to be beveled to give it this nice, realistic look. It can be kind of a tedious task, but it is necessary, and trust me, it will pay you tenfold. Perfect. Once we have everything done, I've actually cut previously established or built piece of stairs into half, so we get 2 smaller ones, and we're basically doing the same thing. First we give it a bash with a rock, then we're engraving with a pencil, and then we're gonna bevel the edges. I have to say this project was very enjoyable. This was first time after maybe a year that I did a frost set, and the snowy sets are really special because as you will see, they are kind of easy to make and it's looking absolutely amazing. So once we are happy with our layout, we are cutting a base. Now what I'm using for a base, this is very frequent questions I'm getting. I'm using material that is used for making bird boxes. At least that is what the label says. And this material is some kind of hardened plastic, and I'm buying them in my local hardware store. Now large sheets can get quite expensive. Like huge sheet can cost you up to 25 euros. However, you can make whole set from these. Now this material is way better than MDF, way better. It's not warping, it's easy to cut, and you can even make a miniature basis from this material if you are precise with your cuts. So anyway, we are using our hot glue to glue all things in place. You can even use toothpicks to further secure the pieces. Now it's time for gluing the 3D printed accessories, which I sculpted in Blender and printed on my GK2 printer. You can get all these pieces I've used and I've sculpted for this set on my Patreon for free as a part of tier 2 and higher. In fact, you can get all my 3D sculpted models, so it's a good deal, guys. Make sure you check it out. It's amazing. You will, by adding a 3D printed pieces, you will add like additional 10 points of realism to your piece. Now, I also added a few plaster casts of skull windows I've sculpted some time ago, because I am recasting my resin prints. It's efficient to make a one-part silicone mold of the easier pieces and then recast it in plaster. I did the same for this cthulhu pillar, which is in the front, and yeah, I glue them with the epoxy, 2-part epoxy glue to make sure it's 100% stuck in place. Now it's time for application of a sculptor mold. Now, for the new guys who don't know, sculptor mold is a special mixture of plaster, paper mache, PVA glue and water, and in my case black pigment, and it's used for A, sealing the gaps, B, making base this nice ground texture, and to level it up a bit. And it's amazing for blending the foam with the base, so you don't have the gaps there. I highly recommend you to check it out. You can make your own for really cheap. I'm using these wooden sticks to smudge it on the base, but you can do it with your fingers. This material is very easy to clean, so don't be afraid to get messy, and it dries really fast. Okay, once everything is dried and you apply gravel on top of your sculptor mold, now you can use just the basic sand. It's time for a priming. I am priming everything with my airbrush, and first color is usually black, and I'm mixing my own primer. So I'm adding a little bit of gloss varnish to the mixture to make sure that the foam is sealed and it's an additional layer of protection. And the next layer of color will be better applied, because once you apply a little bit of gloss varnish into your primer, it's making this rough texture, which takes paint really well. Now if you overdo it with the gloss varnish, then the surface is really round, and that's not what we want. But if you adjust a little bit, it serves its purpose. Take your time during the priming, do a few rounds, make sure everything is properly primed, and make sure everything is dried properly. Now once everything is dried, it's time for our first color, and that is just a dark gray. And we are doing almost a zenithal, but I'm targeting also a bit from down. Then once it's dry, we are going after second color, which is gray blue, dark gray blue, almost like a turquoise. Now this is not specific color I used. This is like my own mixture, but you can use any similar color. It doesn't really matter. We are aiming for this cold look, so that's why we are using these shades of grayish blue. And once it's dried, we are now applying zenithal highlight or zenithal spray with a lighter shade of our gray blue. It's almost Fenrisier gray. Now this step is really amazing. We are doing good old dry brushing, and the color which we are dry brushing is a light gray, and I'm going after very light streaks of the brush. I'm almost like barely touching it, something like feathering. And I want to make sure every raised surface is targeted. Take your time, rather do less and more frequently, and build up on that. Be careful not to overdo it at the same time. Just make sure most of your paint is wiped off the brush. Don't smudge it there. Alright, we are done with painting, and now it's the creme de la creme of this whole process, and that is applying snow. Now I am using snow paste from Aker Interactive, and as you can see, I have this really beaten up brush, and I'm just stippling it, lightly stippling it, and applying the snow all over the piece. Now you better be careful in this step. Again, rather apply less and build up than applying huge chunks and regret it later. I'm also targeting the bottom parts of this structure, because this snow is almost like the wind blew it there. Yeah, and this is how the finished piece look like. I think it's absolutely amazing. Now guys, before I show you the full set, I kindly ask you to consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and hit that bell for notification. I really want this channel to grow. I have a lot of stuff to show you. I have hundreds of hours of footage still left unedited, and I really do want for this to work. So please kindly subscribe, and I'll be more than happy to show you next thing. So see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.